Hey guys, welcome to my August book haul. I've got a nice big stack here. Once again, the majority of these from today are from Book Outlet like normal. I think though I'm gonna try to not buy anything from there for like a month. We'll see how that goes. If they are from somewhere else, I'll let you know. I don't have this really in any particular order. I had my books stacked in order, but then I've been pulling some out for recent videos. Some of these have showed up in recent videos, and the order is chaos. I actually didn't mention, I think in my last video, you could see this shelf a little bit. I didn't actually highlight it at all, but my husband made that for me, and I don't even know if you can see all the levels. There's 4 levels. These are all books that I have not read, that I own. So yeah, the shelves are very helpful, and I love how it looks in here. Another fun thing, coming up in my next video, I'm going to share actual images of this, but coming up real soon, there's going to be some shirts and other merchandise available for the You've Got Mail readathon. Over on Patreon on the weekend, I gave them a few options of different designs that I was thinking of for the readathon, and the winner was this design that I'll show you the design. And then in my next video, I'll tell you what pieces you can buy it on. That's the design, and I'm excited about it. It is, you know, Frank Navasky clickety-clacketing as he is talking to Kathleen Kelly and saying, "You are alone, read." And yeah, that had more than half the votes. So, or at least half the votes, and then the other 2 designs were kind of like split a little bit more evenly. Unfortunately, my favorite design didn't get picked, so that will be coming soon. Okay, let's get on to the books. Oh yeah, and one more thing. So these are all, I think they're all books for me. I do have some homeschool books that I bought from Book Outlet recently. I don't really want to share them here today just because it's very different, but I think I will have a blog post maybe later this week or next sharing the books that I got for our homeschool. So they won't be as a video, but it will be a separate blog post in case you're curious. There's always tons of great books for homeschooling and kids and education on Book Outlet as well. So let's just get started. The first thing I did is I got 2 Ray Bradbury books, and I don't know, are these like, I got The Illustrated Man and I've got The Martian Chronicles, and I don't really know anything about these. I really wanted to buy Fahrenheit 451 by him because I think that is like a science fiction book, and I've been really into science fiction in the last month or 2, and they didn't have it, so I got these instead. I actually really like these covers. So there's this one, it's got the gold, and then there's this one, also has the gold. They match really well. They're really a nice size. They're kind of like pocketbook size, but they're not super thick, so it should be easy to read. Yeah, I don't know what these are. Possibly science fiction. I'm gonna just kind of go into it not knowing, so I got those. And then a book that I shared in my You've Got Mail readathon announcement is Skating Shoes, and this gorgeous cover that I want to highlight yet again. It's a hard cover, a printed hardcover, but it's got a bit of texture, and I really don't know. It's Skating Shoes by Noel Streatfeild, mentioned by Kathleen Kelly, but I don't know if these books, the shoe books, follow the same characters. I have read the one, I always forget, is it Dancing Shoes or Ballet Shoes? Oh, I can't remember. This one though does seem to follow different characters, just judging by the first page. So don't know anything about this, but Kathleen Kelly recommends the shoe books, so you know I've got to read some of them. I think I've mentioned this next one possibly in like all the videos since I bought it, and that is The Librarian Spy. This one is written by, what is her name? Madeline Martin. She wrote The Last Bookshop in London. I just finished it a couple weeks ago. I think in my last recent reads. My reading since my last recent reads has been very meh. I haven't finished a lot of books, so I think my next video will be a reading wrap up, but there's not a whole lot of books reading happening. I don't know, I'm just starting all the books and not finishing them. Anyway, I don't really know a whole lot about this, but librarian, anything book related, and spy are big buzzwords for me, so I'm very curious. And this has to do with World War II as well, so I did see somebody on Goodreads that I follow, one of my subscribers just read it and only gave it 3 stars. So I'm gonna lower my expectations going into it, and then maybe it will be better than I thought. So I had high expectations, but now I'm lowering them. Oh, and I should say, other than, so the ones that I've shared so far from Book Outlet, I found this one at Costco, and I actually got it the day that it came out, which was exciting because I didn't even know it was the day that it came out, but I knew it was like around that time. And Costco's got like decent prices on books. I think I paid like 15 bucks for it, Canadian, so that's a really good price here. Normally that's probably at least $20-25 dollars on like Amazon or something. Okay, and then I also mentioned the Dutch house in my You've Got Mail video because this one, it doesn't have any of my buzzwords. I think it's something about a like family, I don't know if it's, oh, it's set over the course of 5 decades. Yeah, so it follows a family, I think. And that's not normally something that I'm interested in, but the book is narrated by Tom Hanks. So I might use it for one of the prompts for the readathon. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but at least want to like try it. And that one I got from a little free library, so I mean, it was worth grabbing it and seeing what I think of it, even though I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook. I got Illusion by Frank Peretti. Now, I read a lot of Frank Peretti in high school, and I never heard of this one. This was 2012. Okay, so this was after I was in high school. So this was like the years when I wasn't reading. Post-university, first few years of having kids, I didn't read much. And so this, I don't even know what it is. In a world where nothing is as it seems, anything is possible. Dane and Mandy, a popular magic act for 40 years, are tragically separated by a car wreck that claims Mandy's life, or so everyone thinks. Even as Dane mourns, Mandy awakes in the present as the 19-year-old she was in 1970. Oh. Something about mysterious powers, and I really like Frank Peretti and often his take on like the supernatural world and everything. I think this is quite different than what his, like the Oath and Piercing the Darkness and This Present Darkness, but I'm curious. And then on the science fiction vein, but going middle grade, The Lion of Mars is one that I have kind of seen popping up quite a bit. Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, this one has really cool, oh yeah, okay, so The Lion of Mars, there's a lion there. I don't know anything about the book, but the hard cover there, can you see? It's just like a cat. It's not a lion, so does that say something about the book? I don't know. I actually haven't even read anything. It has good reviews on Goodreads. That's kind of what I went with. The question is, how far would you go to save the people you love? Besides spending his whole life on Mars, Belle is just like any other kid. He loves cats, eats all kinds of cake, and is curious about everything. But most of all, Belle wonders about the secrets that adults keep. Why doesn't the US colony have contact with anyone in the other Mars settlements? Is it really so dangerous out there? And why are they always so alone? And then there's a virus, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious because science fiction, middle grade science fiction, I read a few recently that I have enjoyed, so we'll give it a try. And then this one maybe is out of my element. It is YA, I'm not even sure if this is fantasy or if it is science fiction. I think fantasy. It has a map, and I feel like that's always, it's always a fantasy thing. Let's see, fantasy, yeah. It is Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. She's the one that wrote A Curse So Dark and Lonely, like that series. The reason I picked this up is because Jansen over at Everyday Reading was in July, I think, doing a book club for this book, and she was raving about it a lot, and I thought I would give it a try. A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I know some people really love it. You can see the map. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I'm willing to try another series by her. So this says, a kingdom divided by corruption, the king desperately holding it together, a girl willing to risk everything to bring it all crashing down. So the kingdom of Kandala is on the brink of disaster. Rifts between sectors have only worsened since the sickness began ravaging the land. So what year is this? Whenever there's like sickness, 2021. Makes me wonder, is this like pre-COVID start or after? Yeah, I don't know. Curious though. Then these next two are, I don't know if they're companion novels, if they're a series, what exactly they are. I have seen these tons of times. Probably could have waited to find them in little free libraries. They're very popular. I've never been interested in reading them because they are historical fiction, and I just feel like these specific ones I probably won't like. But I went to a ladies' breakfast last month and met a newish lady from my church, and she said the author of these books, these are like, I'll show them right away, these are like New York Times bestseller books. The author currently lives in the States, but she went to the same tiny little town school as this lady from my church. Small town Saskatchewan writers are not very common, and when they have been, even like the Life of Pi author, he's not from Saskatchewan, but he lives in Saskatchewan now. So whenever I hear of famous authors that actually are from here or have some kind of roots here, I'm very curious. So the book is The Kitchen House, and this is a very different cover. This is not the cover I ordered on Book Outlet. The one I ordered goes with the second book, Glory Over Everything. They're supposed to match. They definitely do not. But so, what's her name? Kathleen Grissom is from super small town Saskatchewan, Anaheim, Saskatchewan, actually. And I just like that connection that this lady that I've gotten to know, we had a great conversation about books with all the ladies that I was sitting with. Loved it. Loved it. But I love that she went to school with her. So then it's probably like an hour and a half away from where I live / grew up. So this is historical fiction about turn of the 19th century. And I think it's mostly about a plantation. I'm not even really sure. I just know that now I have to read them both. It does bother me they don't match. They definitely matched when I ordered it online. I like this cover better, but I wanted them to go together. Oh well, I will get over it. I believe she lives in New York now, so not really that Canadian anymore, but that's pretty cool. It doesn't happen very often. We only have 1 million people in our entire province, and it's a big province size-wise. So when you can like have a bit of a famous author from your province, then it's exciting. Okay, then this one I ordered for both of my kids, but I'll read it as well. It's Mr. Limoncellos Library. I know this book is like quite old already. It's been a few years since it came out, but Chris, I don't know, Grabenstein, however you say his name, he has an Audible exclusive book that my kids have loved. Can't actually remember which one it is now. Yeah, no, totally blanking. And they want to read more of his books. So I thought I would grab this one since I know it's very popular. I don't really know anything about it. Kyle Keeley has 2 older brothers. One is a total jock and the other is a total brainiac. It's tough to come out on top when you're competing against that. But everyone has a fighting chance while playing board games. A good roll of the dice, a lucky draw of the cards, and some smarts. And Kyle could win the day. So the world's most famous game maker has designed the town's new library and is having an invitation-only lock-in on the first night. He's determined to be there. I do remember starting this on audio years ago with my kids, and they were obviously too young. They didn't really get it. And I don't remember anything, but hopefully this will be kind of spark their interest now. This book is on my son's book list that I've chosen for him for grade 4. That is up on my website. I'll make sure I link it below. I decided not to do a video for it because I didn't have a whole lot of time that week, but I have the list on my blog. Of course, now I have a bit of a tickle in my throat, so hopefully my voice will last. I forgot to mention, I had this all set apart so I would remember. I got a postcard from Oklahoma. This is now my 3rd American state postcard that I've gotten, so I'm kind of like slowly collecting them. Okay, hopefully that tickle goes away. Yeah, so I was excited to get this, and I need to like have a map maybe and start like pinning the places that I'm getting postcards. That's fun. Okay, and then when I was searching for, I just realized this book is kind of bent, but it's okay. It doesn't affect the reading. When I was looking for science fiction book recommendations, Blake Crouch was coming up a lot, and I think this book is more of a thriller than science fiction, but I got Dark Matter. Angie has been talking about this book a lot lately. She just finished reading it, I believe, or was in the middle, and was raving about it, and it was on there. And honestly, when there's like hardcovers on Book Outlet, I get so excited because then it looks like you spent a lot of money on your books, but you didn't have to. So I don't actually know anything about this. It says, "Are you happy with your life? Those are the last words Jason hears before the masked abductor knocks him unconscious." Wow, I cannot read. Yeah, so I think this one is more of a thriller. From what I know, I believe that Blake Crouch has quite a bit of language in his books. Personally, if I'm reading a book and not listening to it, I can skim over that. It doesn't really affect me. I grew up with a number of relatives that have very colorful language, so I can filter past that, but I know some people really don't like that, so just wanted to give a heads up. I don't actually know if this one is, I definitely haven't actually seen, just skimming through here, I don't see any, okay, there's one, but I only saw one. The last time I saw a Blake Crouch book in a little free library, I flipped through, and like every page I flipped to, I saw a swear word, so I ended up not taking it. But this one, from the little bit of flipping I did, seems to be a little bit less. Then another little free library book, so I got a few from little free libraries. I got In This Mountain, so this is one of, I think this is book 7 in the Mitford novels. Random little free library find. Normally I wouldn't buy book 7 in a series when I only own book 1 and I haven't even started it yet, but if it's in a little free library, I'm gonna grab it. So I got this one. Still don't really know anything about the series, gonna go into it blind, thinking I might start reading it like September, October, November, because that's the feel that I'm going for at that time of the year, I think. Then there was a little free library right near me that just started that I actually forgot about since the day I went there. And so I got this book. It's, I don't actually know how to say her name. How do you say her name? Jodi Picoult? Like, do you actually pronounce the T? House Rules. I read My Sister's Keeper in high school, and you guys, like, that book, I'm like still angry at the parents in that book. I actually don't know if I'm gonna read this book. I might just bring it to another little free library. Don't really even know what it's about. Oh, it's about a teenager with Asperger's syndrome. I just pulled it out because that little free library, it was obviously like brand new. They had like 3 different authors in there, and then like all the books by those 3 authors, which would be great if you loved those 3 authors, but I feel like generally a little free library should have a little bit more diversity. So I pulled it out. I pulled out the one of her books that sounded the most interesting. I think this Jacob has a special focus on one subject, forensic analysis, and he has a police scanner in his room that clues him into crime scenes, and he's always showing up and telling the cops what to do, and he's usually right. So that does sound interesting to me. Although, like, am I that interested? I'm not sure. But I'm excited to have another little free library, like, within really close walking distance, so I'll be going there more frequently now that I remembered that it's there. Okay, battery died. We're back. I've got 3 books left, and these are different. So one, somebody on BookTube sent to me. I don't know who. They sent me a lovely little like, note, and they just called themselves a BookTube friend from BookTube. So my BookTube friend from BookTube, thank you very much. I would love to know which friend you are so that I could like actually thank you. But they knew that I was looking for Christian sci-fi books, so they sent me this one. It's called Recorder, and it is the Children of the Consortium, book 1. And now my phone's getting alerts. This is the like 3rd Amber Alert we've had in a very short time in our province. It's very, very strange. Apparently it's child abduction season. Random. So I haven't actually read this yet. I wanted to read this on here. Recorder has no family, no friends, and no name. Donated to the consortium before her birth, her sole purpose is to maintain and verify the records. A neutral, oh man, I can't actually read. Okay. A neural implant and drone ensure compliance, punishing for display of bias. Suddenly cut off from controlling technology, Recorder tastes what it means to be human. But if the consortium discovers her feelings, everyone will know she is in danger. With no name, no resources, and only an infinitesimal possibility of escape, Recorder's time is running out. So I'm very curious. I'm excited to read this. It's got like blurbs by Lindsay Franklin, who wrote The Story Peddler, and yeah, I'm oh, and I really like this. You can't really tell, but it's like a dark orange kind of color. I don't really know how to describe it. I like the color. Yeah, so I'm going to be reading this soon. That will hopefully satisfy some of my science fiction craving. And then Holly popped by the other day and she dropped off a couple books. One was for the kids and 2 were for me. So this one I had never heard of. It's called What is the What? And she said she thought I would enjoy this. So it is a novel based off of the life of Valentino Akak Deng? Okay, I can't read this. Who, along with thousands of other children, the so-called Lost Boys, was forced to leave his village in Sudan at the age of 7 and trek hundreds of miles by foot, pursued by, yeah, lots of different people, to find freedom. So this reminds me a lot of A Long Walk to Water, but not the, like the A Long Walk to Water is like super short and middle grade, and so this sounds really good. Oh my word. This is possibly the tiniest font that I've ever seen in a book that wasn't like a vintage book. That is very tiny. It's like size 9 or 8 point font. Okay, so there she dropped off that one. And also a Pat of Silver Bush. And this is exciting to me because I own the second book in this duology, Mistress Pat. For whatever reason, Tundra Books, when they made those beautiful covers that I have, they published the second book in their beautiful covers, but they never published book 1. It doesn't make any sense to me. So now I own book 1 and I can actually get on with the series. I don't know anything about this. This one is actually set on Prince Edward Island. Most of her books are, but some of them aren't. And yeah, I don't know. It sounds like we're gonna meet a bunch of people from the island. This has about the same size of font as this book, but I expect that more from a book this size, whereas like this one is bigger and still has teeny tiny font. So there's a lot of words in this book. So there you have it. That is a bunch of books that I bought recently. Very excited about all of them. Let me know where I should start, and if it was you that sent me this book, please let me know so I can like actually thank you. Let me know some books that you've bought recently and give me some suggestions how I can not buy books from Book Outlet for a month. What should I do instead? Give me some options. Thanks so much for being here, guys.